Hey everybody, and welcome back to Ask Devan Anything. Every Thursday, we drop a podcast with me answering all of your questions. We take them from all over the internet. You guys drop them everywhere. My team goes in, they scrape them, pull them in. And last week we did leadership. This week we're doing fitness. And you guys have been doing such an amazing job at submitting questions, so thank you. We're able to have like buckets and put them into conversations now. And it's really nice because then we get to cover like one topic. So this one's fitness. Last week was leadership. And we have some questions here. Do you have any specific motivators to help you when you're not in the mood to work out? Favorite strategies to ingrain sustainable habits, exercise, diet, etc. Suggestions for being for the best bang for your buck, especially when it comes to short, abbreviated workouts on days that you are not able to make it to camp or in a time crunch. The best ways to get to boost energy, to prevent or fight that midday slump that I know we all have. And then number 6, and the final one, is what to look for when it comes to shopping for shoes for the type of workouts that we do. Okay, so 6 questions today. I'm just gonna give you some tips and some tricks and some hints, things that I've all talked about before, but you know, things hit you differently at different times of the day. So no matter where you're at in the world, thank you for being here. I'm glad that you're here for Ask Devan Anything. And here we go. So we're gonna jump right into it. Number 1, do you have any specific motivators to help you when you are not in the mood to work out? Okay, so I think to start this, I would like to say that most people have the fitness professionals all wrong, because we actually also are probably just as often, if not more, demotivated to work out than you are. It's like our job. Like if you're an accountant, or like, do you really want to, like, do you enjoy doing your own taxes? Right? Like if you're a photographer and you do that for a living, you really like enjoy taking photos of your family. Maybe that's a different scenario you might do in that. Morgan's mom, Lori, she cuts hair. She's standing on her feet all day long for decades, right? She's cutting people's hair. Probably doesn't enjoy me asking her like, hey, can you please cut my hair and my boy's hair on your vacation? You know what I mean? And so it's like, as fitness professionals, we get often coined as like these I don't know, fitness machines or whatever you will, that just like intrinsically love fitness, work out super hard every day, always love it, never are demotivated not to do it. It's like, no, that's actually completely wrong and opposite for the reasons that I just mentioned. And so we have to have mechanisms, okay? One of the mechanisms that I have that I think really can help you when you're not in the mood to work out is to project forward. Now this can work in the short term or the long term. You can project forward visions of your life, and you could like convince yourself of some picture, of some scenario, of some future vision of your world, and you can write that story down, and that can become the pleasure that you project forward to overcome the short-term pain of having to wake up early and go to work, for example. You do the same thing on a micro. So if you get up in the morning and you don't want to work out, then the first thing that I would tell you is welcome to the club. Not many people do. And those that do intrinsically enjoy it, which I do, don't intrinsically enjoy it all the time. Okay? So what I do is try to project forward how I know I'm going to feel when I'm done. So the pleasure, you guys know that feeling that you get when you're done. Especially the feeling that you get when you're done, and either A, it's still dark out because you did it early in the morning, or B, it's dark out because you did it late at night after a long day. The pleasure and the satisfaction and the sense of accomplishment and self-esteem that arises because of that action is so motivating. It's something that, this is the reason why people stick to working out despite not liking it. So project that forward. If you had to make a hard decision at work, let's say you had to, I don't know, you're at work and you lead a team and you had to let somebody go because that person wasn't a good teammate, but you know that you can't really tell everybody about the situation because of confidentiality, but they had a lot of good relationships in your company, or let's say, and now You get a lot of questioning from those people that you can't really have the confidential conversation with, and there's going to be a lot of pain that's manufactured over the next couple days as you maybe let this person go, right? That's a scenario that a lot of professionals run into. Well, it's like you can't not let that person go because you lose, they lose, the team loses, the company loses. It's a four-way lose if you don't. But you don't want to, and you know that, right? But you don't want to because of that short-term pain that you know you're going to feel. It's hard to do it, have the conversation, and to field the questions from the other people that you want the respect and love and admiration from for the foreseeable couple days. So you have to project of how great the company, yourself, the team is going to be in 3 months from that decision rather than 3 hours from that decision, because it's a completely different perspective, okay? And so that's my tip, is when you're not in the mood to work out, you just need a different perspective. You currently have a short-term perspective. You need to take that perspective out a little bit, right, to the next, to the pleasurable moments that you will have in the future because of the decision that you make in the present. Makes sense? Say yes. Okay. Favorite strategies to ingrain sustainable habits, diets, etc. Okay, so I'll answer this question verbatim. I like this question. I answer it a lot, but I'm going to hopefully give you a different perspective or a different answer or a little nugget or two if you listen to the podcast all the time. Favorite strategies to ingrain sustainable habits. Okay, so I'm gonna go a different route. I normally go into, hey, anchor your fitness into your lifestyle. It's the thing that goes on your schedule and it's a non-negotiable for you, and you build your life around yourself. Why? Because being selfish, if you have positive intent, is the least selfish thing that you could do. That would be my normal narrative. Some of you guys have heard that. If not, and you're hearing this for the first time, there's plenty of podcasts where I talk about how to anchor your life in fitness and how to use that as like the hardest thing that you do every day so that the rest of your day becomes easy. You can check some of those other episodes out. You can go binge watch that instead of Netflix, right? Okay, and then we're gonna, I'm gonna take a different angle, and I'm gonna tie it back into last week because we did leadership last week. And one of the leadership principles I didn't do last week is called get shit done, GSD. Okay, that means that on a daily basis, we the night before, that we write out everything that we have to do, both personally and professionally, the night before, not the morning of, the night before, okay? And then what we do after we write everything out that we have to do is we organize it. We organize it in 3 buckets, A, B, and C. A is what only you can do. What you have to do, what's important, but only you can do it. That's the key part of that. Not letting the ego take over and thinking that you have to do it because you want to do it the best and nobody else can do it better than you. Not that. I'm talking about only you can do it. You're the only person that can execute. And then you put an A right next to that task. Your next letter is a B. You put a B next to every task. That's super important. You have to do it, but somebody else can do it. And one strategy I like to differentiate A to B is asking yourself the following question. Can somebody execute this at 80% of what I would expect them to execute this at, or what I would execute this at? Because if they can do it 80% as good as me, that's a good philosophy, a good perspective to mitigate the human ego that we all have that says nobody can do it as good as me. Okay, good, we got it. You're a badass, you're awesome, nobody can do it as good as you, you're perfect. Could they at least do it 80% as good as you? And if the answer is yes, it's important that they can at least do it 80% as good as I would need them to do it. B, that's a B bucket thing. Then you're going to delegate and you're going to elevate with the time that you're getting back from giving somebody else that task. Letter C is the crap bucket. You ever heard of have a to-do list but then a not to-do list? Okay, what we're doing right now is we're building an outcome list, okay, and then we're building a not to-do list, right? And all the C's, the crap stands for crap. That's the crap bucket. That's your SHIT list. Okay, we want to get shit done, but we also want to get shit out of our way. All right, so that C is just a cross off the crap bucket, the shit list. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Ask yourself this question. If I did not do this thing, would it change the outcome? If I did not do this thing, would it change what I need to get done in order to fulfill my obligations, my promises, to keep my integrity, to keep my intent and to keep my word. Okay? So we're answering the question, favorite strategies to ingrain sustainable habits. Ingrain sustainable habits. All right, so that GSD ideology, I went through that very fast because I can do a 2-hour workshop on that. But that GSD mentality will keep you organized. To me, that's a success habit. It's a sustainability habit. And I'll layer one more little concept on top of that called clarity breaks, often known as brainstorming. Get clarity. You got to take breaks to work on the outcomes, not to actually execute the outcomes. And so working on them means I need clarity, I need space. I do this on Sunday night for 2 hours and Wednesday usually for about an hour. Is it clarity? That means I sit down. I'm not trying to execute anything. I'm just trying to get that list that I'm going to pull from the week so that I can organize my GSD lists. I can bucket them A, B, C, get rid of my C's, delegate and elevate my B's, and then make sure that my A's are executed at most maximally and optimally executed, right? So that way I'm not doing a lot of things okay, that I'm doing few things very well. Okay, so let's talk about question number 3, suggestions for the best bang for your buck, meaning short abbreviated workouts that you can do when, hey, life gets busy, you want to make it into camp, you live 6 minutes away, you're trying to make the 9:30, you have 2 children, one is hanging on your leg, the toddler's hanging on your leg. Oh, by the way, they just pooped in their diaper right before you're about to leave, by the way. So you're going to have to deal with that. Oh, but the baby is it. You strapped her up. She's all warm. She's got a little onesie on. She's got a blanket. She's got her sockies on. Blanket's over the socket. She's tucked in, right? Oh, puke all over, everywhere, all over the car seat, all over the onesie. All right. Oh, and meanwhile, as that's happening, you look over and the dog, the new puppy, is hunched over, taking a deuce right on your rug in the middle of your house. Okay? All right, so you panic, and then you have your Lululemon bag in this arm, and you got 2 glass bowls in it for lunch, and then you drop that, and now it shatters and you break, and it breaks. And now you have chaos happening around you, right? And you need an option. Okay, you need an option. What can you do? You can't make it to camp. What can you do? You can write this down. I'm just giving this as a free format, a nugget, so that you can maximize your time working out if you only had 15 minutes, let's say. Hey, 9:30 was the only time today you could have got in today. You got a busy day because right after this you have boom, 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 back to back to back to back, and now you only are going to have 20 minutes to spare. So here's a 15-minute format for you that you can go ahead and write down. It's called burst training. It's one of our 14 protocols at Burn Bootcamp. Burst training is by far my favorite conditioning protocol that we have. And then upper body strength for me is my favorite strength protocol that we have. Burst training works like this. If in the abbreviated version, not the camp version of it, but the abbreviated version, the 15-minute version is going to look like this. Okay, it's going to look like 5 exercises, 15 minutes only. Okay, you rotate through these 5 exercises 4 times, 20 seconds each exercise, followed by 20 seconds of rest on repeat, 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 repeat. If you're advanced, you go 2-to-1 work to rest ratio and you go 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And what this does is that kicks in that afterburn effect that you would even get in a 45-minute camp. And it's going to be the highest and best use of a 15-minute segment. Very, very tough to maximize strength protocol in like a 15-minute segment because just of the pure nature of how strong a person can get being able to kind of bulldoze through just 15 minutes of pure strength. So there you go. There's a format, burst training for you. I hope you could write that down. We're going to be doing a lot more with burst training in the coming quarters here at Burn Bootcamp. We're going to be taking our digital experience to the next level. That's what I'll say, and we're gonna do it with you members in mind. All right, and all the things that you maybe don't get at camp from a recovery standpoint, an abbreviated workout standpoint, we're gonna provide digitally so that you have those options so that we can take care of you better, right? That we can help really look at an ecosystem of fitness and nutrition services and products so that, where you put your trust in, the company that you put your trust in, anything that you ever get from us is going to, it's going to come straight from Morgan, straight from straight from our franchise partners, and straight from our HQ team's heads and our hearts, okay? So there's some ingrainable, sustainable habits to get you going on exercise, on diet, etc. All right. Hopefully that's a different angle for some of you that have been here week over week over week, podcast over podcast over podcast. We try not to do the same topics a lot, and when we do the same topics, we try to take a different perspective because there's infinite perspectives to the same topic, and you can break down and we can analyze things from really any lens. So, okay, let's go to, what are we on, number 4? I don't know, I forgot. Yeah, number 4. Best ways to get an energy boost to prevent the midday slump. Okay, all right, so this is great, all right? The midday slump, we all get it. We've heard about it. If you haven't gotten it, you're the lucky one that just has insane amounts of energy. But here is what I will tell you, is that when you start to yawn and you get tired and you get to that midday slump, what is really happening is that you're deoxygenated. That's the root of it, right? So you don't need to pump your body and your veins up with caffeine in order to bring your energy back. All you have to do is breathe. I promise you, all you have to do is breathe. And if you're willing to go outside of your comfort zone, if you're willing to just do this exercise with me right now, here, right now, I will literally do this with you, okay? And you're gonna see just in 2 minutes, Isaiah, I'm gonna need you to keep me a 2-minute timer. You're gonna see just how quickly you can fire up your lymph system, you can oxygenate your body, and you can get that energy back through simply just breathing alone, knowing that the root cause of the reason that you have a midday slump is because you are deoxygenated. All right, so here, let's do this, and then you're actually gonna physically feel that energy come back. All right, and then once I would do this for maybe 5 minutes, because it takes me a little bit longer now with my lung capacity. 2 minutes will work for you at first. And then you're gonna go outside and you're gonna do a quick 10-minute break, 15-minute break in the sun. Try to stretch a little bit. Just take 10 minutes at the halftime of your day, before or after you eat lunch, just to try to get some vitamin D, right? If you're in a place that the sun doesn't shine a lot, or it's like the winter, try to find a place that has maybe an infrared sauna, or invest in, nowadays, guys, you can get infrared saunas that can go in your garage for like a few $100 online. They might not be the top of the end ones, but they're gonna do the job, right? And for I think $400 or $500 you can get one. And so that's always an option as well. But let's get into the breathing exercise because I think it's really important. Okay, so we're gonna set a timer for 2 minutes. I'm gonna just go ahead and do this and close my eyes. But before I do this, I'm gonna give you the cadence, okay? So I'm gonna go 10, what we call hard breaths in and out through the mouth, okay? Big, deep, cleansing breaths, wide open mouth, in and out, super hard, 10 times with force, okay? This is gonna seem a little crazy and a little weird and a little like, what the hell is this guy doing right now? Like, he really wants me to do this? Yes, I do, and I'd like you to follow along with me because you got to be just a little bit silly, like, what are you going to do? Just listen to listen to like the commercials and drink caffeine when you're tired? No, like, try another strategy. Like, you haven't tried all the strategies. Try this one with me. Just don't do it if you're like in the car and driving, okay? Because you have a tendency, you could get lightheaded and a little bit dizzy from this, but it is 10 hard breaths in and out, big breaths, and then you're going to go breathe in through your nose. One hard time, get to the top of the breath, one more hard time, hold it, then go into 10 more. Boom, 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 powerful breaths, okay? So we're gonna fire breathe, and then we're gonna go take all the air in through our nose, and then hold it at the top for a cherry on top. We're gonna hold it there for about 10 seconds, and then we're gonna breathe and repeat. Make sense? Say yes? Okay, we're gonna go 2 minutes, okay? All right. No, please nobody clip this out on YouTube and just verbatim. Give me some context around it, okay? Because I'm probably gonna look pretty silly here doing this. All right, here we go. Isaiah, you got my time? Yeah. Give me halfway and then at 2 minutes, okay? All right, everybody. As I said, 10 in, 10 out. We're gonna hold at the top, cherry on top, and we're gonna repeat. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm already feeling it. Halfway. I'm lit up now. Now I'm hearing things. You gotta keep that intensity up. You don't let my intensity go down. Oh. And that's it. You notice I had to put my hands down on either side of me halfway through. That is an intense 2 minutes right there. I'm hearing ringing. I'm hearing my ears hear like distant sounds. I feel very focused. I have peripheral vision. I just see right in front of me. I could think about nothing. All I could think about is just holding the breath and the cadence and the patterns. And y'all, I could go run through a brick wall right now. And if you're doing that with me, just for even 2 minutes, you're gonna feel how you just completely can kill a midday slump just by focusing on your breathing. So hey, if your Apple Watch says, hey, take a breath, have a nice esoteric meditation moment where you just breathe, and that's not doing it for you, the reminder's good, but the actual cadence and the execution isn't there for you with the Apple Watch reminder. Doesn't give you the fire breathing with the lymph breathing, combine it into one, and now all of a sudden you have this oxygenation process that just lights you up in 5 minutes. Okay, if you tried this routine before but you've never tried it that way, try that. I promise you, you'll be way more stoked than caffeine could ever make you. I'm like about to finish this podcast like on an all-time high, best podcast I've ever done. Way more clarity now, way more congruency mentally and physically. I just feel like I could like dominate anything. I could step on stage and give a sermon, preach my word right now if I had to, at the drop of a hat, because of that intentional time of taking that was only 3 cycles, by the way. That was 2 minutes, 3 cycles. If you can do 6 cycles in 5 minutes, woo! Woo! I don't know if I can do 5 minutes right now. I might pass out. I legit had to put my arms next to me. That was the only thought that broke, was like, hey, remind everybody to stay intense because you're about to pass out from being intense, and you need these kickstands next to you. So do that at your own risk, because you will get lightheaded, but you'll oxygenate your body and you're ready to go. Hopefully that's a great way for you guys that you haven't heard about before to get energy boost and to prevent or /fight the midday slump. Okay, 2 more questions. What to look for when it comes for shopping for shoes for the type of workout we do. Okay, shoe update, here we go. All right, so I am about at the very end of contracting an outsourced footwear department. Okay? And part of that department is, although you know that I like to doodle, I like to draw, sketch. Some of you may think that the things that I draw are cool or good looking, or maybe I have some skill. Well, that's just a hobby. I need a technical designer that is much, 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 much better than me at design and concepting and technical specs, so that I can take my design, our design really, the one that we've created together through all of my iterations. I think I've posted now 5 or 6 different iterations of the shoe. So thank you for all of your feedback, all of your approval, disapproval of features of things, your ideas. Literally has shaped this shoe. And so the technical designer, one conversation left there, one conversation left with the outsourced footwear department. Next step is I get the concept, I go sleep in somewhere in Asia for 4 days at a factory, and I work hands-on with the manufacturers, which I will document on my Instagram, by the way. I will work hand in hand with manufacturers to bring a prototype to life. We'll get multiple prototypes. We'll bring them back. We'll test the prototypes, and then we'll select one of the prototypes to be a Burn Bootcamp shoe. We're going to do limited runs. Okay, we're going to do limited runs. I'm not sure how many we're going to do, but when it drops, you better get it, because we're going to do limited runs, all right? Because let's see, it's a very expensive process. I'm jumping off the proverbial cliff on this to get into the footwear industry, which being in the footwear industry is not the same as being in the retail industry. It's not the same as being in the activewear apparel business, which I am in and am very fluent at and know my way around. It gives me a good head start. Like, gives my team a good head start. Our team is very fluent in that vertical of the world. But footwear is a whole different department, okay? A whole different department. So between myself, my retail team here, and the outsourced footwear department, we will be designing the Cross, to answer to your question, which there is no shoe on the market today that solves our conundrum. We talked earlier about, we have conditioning camps and we have strength camps. Conditioning, running, cutting, jumping, okay? Changing direction, exploding. You're going to need both twist tests to be really good, right? You're going to need lateral support. You're going to need medial support for when we're cutting and changing directions. You're going to need durability, because we beat shoes up. I mean, think about how many shoes that you go through. Any shoes in Burn Bootcamp, I'll show you this one. I work out in these shoes right now. These are just like beater Nikes, because that happens to the edge of my shoe because we do a lot of push-up position, high plank position work, and that friction from the floor just eats those toe strips away, those toe protectors away really fast, okay? And so we need both durability in the conditioning side of things too. And then for strength, hey, we need dexterity. What that means is that we need to make sure that our feet can grab the ground, that we can really feel the ground underneath our feet, right? That there's an appropriate, what we call a toe to heel ratio or toe to heel incline, and that tilt is appropriate. If you can see some of the traditional strength platform shoes, they're flat. And you see some of the running shoes, they're more vertical, like this. Okay, some of the strength shoes, okay, they're not going to be worried about lateral support as much, okay, but they're going to be worried about being flat. So we need to basically take a running shoe and then take a strength shoe and combine them using what people had tried to do with the Metcon, okay, but the Metcons also get really worn out in our gyms, and so we need to figure out a layer of durability so that the price point it's not going to be a cheap price point. Like, I can do it fast, I can do it cheap, or I can do it good, right? If you want me to do it good, it's not going to be fast and it's not going to be cheap. If you want me to do it fast, it's not going to be cheap, it's not going to be good, right? If you want it to be, what's the last one? If you want me to be cheap, it's going to be fast, but not going to be good. Something like that, right? I gotta polish that one up a little bit, but you get it, right? Like, to be good, it can't be fast and cheap. So it's going to take time and it's going to take money, and so therefore we have to probably charge, I don't know, it's in the $100 price point. It's probably like a $129 price point, something like that, in order to make all of these things really come together and provide a shoe that's going to answer all of your questions. Right now, my best proxy in the market, because you're going to be waiting a little bit for this, my best proxy for you all in the market to answer your question is, I would say right now the Nike Metcon is my favorite. I also would give the Nobles, not the running shoes, because those ones are pretty bad. They're not designed. They're just designed for straight line running. But the Nobles that are the Metcon spinoff, the kind of the platform shoe, I forget what they call them. Are they the trainers? Yeah, the Noble trainers. Those are good too. I have a pair of those, and those seem to do the job. Although they're not very good for straight line running. They're very hard and thin, and not necessarily great for straight line running, but do the job. And I don't mind those shoes. But there's really nothing that satisfies me for our floors, and it's not saying anything bad about any other shoe company. It's our floors are just built differently. The movements that we do are different, and we really need to. I think it's a great addition to the business to be able to have a custom shoe, because we get this question so often, and I really don't have a great answer for you on how to provide you something that can run, that can jump, that is stable, that is durable, that we're going to basically take the best parts from all of the inspiration that we have around us, and we're going to mash it up with the necessities of what you have in the gym, and we're going to deliver something to you, hopefully at a price point that is, if it's not necessarily a affordable price point, that you're willing to make the investment because it will last so long for you. All right. Last question for the day is it good to do the same workout day after day after day after day? And the answer is, it depends on what you're meaning by this. If it means, is it good to do the same workout week after week after week after week to measure progression? I think there are periods of time or some periodization that we build in that is absolutely 100% necessary to track your progress over time. We just did that with Flex Your Fitness at Bird Bootcamp. We basically said, hey, we're going to have 3 strength days every week. These strength days, we're going to measure our progress on these core movements, and we're going to reduce the reps as we go through time. And as we reduce the reps through time, we want to increase the weight, all right, to get our body to adapt, to be able to push more weight. And we did it, and it works, and everybody loves it, because what happens is that periodization allows you to make quantum leaps in progression, right? Because it's intentional. So doing the week over week, I wouldn't say day after day. I would say, no, you never want to do the same workout 2 days in a row, right? Like, no, you don't want to do that. We're not even fans of doing repeating the same workout unless you're doing it for performance. We'll repeat the same movements. We'll track movements. We'll track performance in those movements. But the same exact workout, part of the reason why people leave fitness or stop their journeys, because they get bored. It gets boring after a while. And we can still track progress and have periodization where we have stability in terms of, or predictability in terms of, hey, we're going to do this thing, and over 6 weeks we're all going to grow, and we know it because of the way that we programmed, as long as we show up and we execute. But from a longevity standpoint, we never repeat the same workout twice at Burn Bootcamp. We never have, because I believe from a longevity standpoint that part of this game, to keep you engaged with it, right, and to make you fall in love with it, and not only fall in love with it, but it to become part of your identity. I think that's the deepest form. It becomes a part of who you are, and just like the clothes you wear, the shoes you wear, the words you say, the people you hang out with, like this has just become something you do. It becomes part of who you are. It's part of your personality. And if you want fitness to get to that point where, well, to me, then it can never be boring, and it always has to be adventurous, and there always has to be a level of excitement, right? And then our job from there is to create excitement, but create positive vibes around that excitement, not necessarily like anxiety around that excitement, which is one of the hardest challenges of Burn Bootcamp, is to get people to understand that, hey, yes, it's hard, yes, it's long, yes, it's difficult, but you're so worth it. And all the other things that you've tried before, people promise you it's going to be short, effective, quick, and you're going to look great in 30 days. But that doesn't work. You like to hear those things because it satisfies you, but I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear in the short term. I'm here with you for life. I'm here to mentor you for life. Do life together. So I got to tell you the hard things now. Because when you do the hard things now, life gets easier. If you do the easy things now, life gets harder. That's just the way it works. Don't ask me how. Okay, the Creator bestowed rules, laws of both physics, of both laws of attraction, characteristic laws of success, laws of leadership. I just abide by them and try to be a good communicator, stand on the shoulders of the people that have taught me things over the years. So yes and no. Yes, we want to periodize our progress, and we want to have periods of time where we have an intentional, acute goal. But no, in the sense that, hey, we don't need to repeat the same workouts ever in order to make progression. Just the same movements, all right? Well, I hope that you had a good time today, even a great time. Like, if you had a great time, if you really enjoyed this, let me know. I keep trying different formats here on Ask Devan Anything. It's kind of a loose format where we're just scraping the internet. We're finding all the things that you kind of point toward me, and you say, hey, Devan, help me out with this. Try to pull those together in different formats. Hopefully you like this format. Lots of questions, all about leadership, all about fitness. I tried to give you some different perspectives and some things I haven't talked about a lot before, maybe tying in other pieces of life into it. So just let me know, guys. I'm an open book. I hope that you really enjoy this. I don't do this for any other reason. I don't do this to sell you anything or for any other reason to just, give back and be able to pass on all the values and tactics and strategies and wisdom and knowledge that's been imparted on me by the people that I look up to and everybody in my life who I learn from, who I would call my mentors or my peers, and to bring that with you and to grow with you. I'm growing. I'm constantly learning every single day, and I hope that this podcast, that our relationship is one where you're constantly learning from me every day, and if you're not learning and I'm not adding value, change the channel. Go somewhere else. But I promise you that I'm going to keep trying my very best to unconditionally deliver you the truth wrapped in love. All right? 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.